So, over the past 2 years of me doing this, I've gotten quite a few questions. First question I get asked the most, why? Second question I get asked the most is, what's wrong with you? Some people ask, dear God, what is that? Some are a little bit more positive. Some people go, oh, did it taste good? Or they ask obvious questions like, did you eat it? And things like that. But I decided that I wanted to answer the one question that no one was asking. And that is, how? How do you make your delicious and beautiful and artistically motivated meatloafs? And that is the question that I decided I'm going to answer. So, please enjoy this journey with me as I show you how to make my amazing and delicious meatloaf. You start off by prepping your ingredients, which I'm not going to show you the entire process, but it starts off something super easy, just like this. Chopping onions. Gonna need a full onion. The other fresh produce that I use is garlic and parsley. Parsley is actually from my garden, which is not doing so hot this year. I mean, I have tomatoes and cucumbers planted, but the only thing that we've really truly been eating is the herbs out of the garden. So, at least I got some parsley to use. So, I think one thing that you have quickly realized is you need a lot of natural and amazing raw cooking talent. That's what you're seeing right here with my chopping. You know, I got those professional cuts that I learned from YouTube probably 3 years ago or so. You know, that's how I get all these amazing even dices from my onion. Yeah. So, I'm going to prep these ingredients, and I'll see you back when it's time to actually put this meatloaf together. Okay, here we go. I've prepped my ingredients. I got everything I need for this. As you can hear, I picked the worst possible day to record this. It is raining really heckin' hard outside, and I'm just going to speak loud and really close to the microphone, and I hope that covers it. Okay, so for my meatloaf, what I use basically every single time is 3 pounds of mixed meat. So this is beef, pork, and veal, all mixed into one. 3 packages of it, 3 pounds, you know how that is. You saw me chop my onion. That is basically a full white onion. You can use whatever onion you want. I don't know, I just chose the white kind, I guess, whatever. You need 5 cloves of garlic. If you want to go lighter on that, you can. I actually went heavier on that. I usually use like 6 cloves of garlic because my mom raised me right. Then I have 5 tablespoons of ketchup. Next I use 3 to 4 splashes of Worcestershire sauce, your old W sauce, Worcestershire, okay, whatever it's called. Then I use 4 tablespoons of fresh parsley. My garden, we've been using a lot of the parsley, so I didn't get 4 tablespoons of it out of the garden this time, so I'm gonna put some dried parsley in there as well. I got 3/4 cups of panko breadcrumbs, 1/4 cup of Italian breadcrumbs. I like to use the mix, I figured out. I have 1/2 cup of cream, whipped cream, heavy whipping cream. Yep, and then I have all my seasonings over here. I use salt, pepper, Cajun. I like this brand specifically, and that's what I use. I use paprika, onion, and garlic powder just to add a little bit more to it. I always use some MSG just because I like it. Did I say that I use 3 eggs? They're right there. I don't know if I even mentioned it. Egg. In addition to this, I have my sauce ingredients as well. My sauce uses a cup of ketchup, 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. I don't know what the difference is between dark and light brown sugar, but that is one of them for sure. I use a splash of white vinegar. I also add garlic powder and onion powder to the mix. But I only have 1 container, so I put them over there instead of over here, and I hope no one got sick while I've been moving that camera around. I'll move it one more time to show you the salt that I also put in there. There's some salt. And then I used blackened seasoning just because I like the way it tastes, and it's fun to have extra flavors added to the party. Now, you know how my meatloafs work, so we have to have extra stuff to make them look beautiful and amazing and cool and fantastic. This time we'll be using bacon. You probably won't use all that bacon, but I mean, if you want to, I guess you can. I have some cuts of onion that I'm going to be using, black peppercorn, blueberries. I have some extra ones in case I need them. And then I have Cheeto dust, and you'll see how that's going to be used. And I'm going to show you how to make Cheeto dust if you don't know. So, again, here's the beautiful spread of ingredients. Measurements will not be in the description. So, yeah. Meatloaf to your heart's content. We'll be right back. Okay, for all of you who've never made Cheeto dust before, it's a very simple process. You take your zester, you take your Cheeto, and you zest that Cheeto. Bet you didn't think you were going to get Cheeto zesting ASMR with my Meatloaf video, but you know, that's just how we do it here. That sounded ridiculous. Oh no. Oh yeah, there it is. Any guesses? Well, I guess if you're seeing this video, you probably already saw the regular post of the completed product. But I'm gonna continue making it a secret until we actually get to the assembly phase. That's how you make Cheeto dust. Zester, Cheeto dust. Fun. Okay, here is the assembly of the meatloaf. If you've never made meatloaf before, it's one of the easiest things you could possibly do. You take all of your ingredients, you put them in a bowl, crack them eggs, adding them nice and easy. I don't know how to fill the silence, so I'm just going to talk awkwardly. These are 3 grade A large eggs, so you know I'm using the quality stuff. But you really just, again, you dump the mess in there. There's some parsley. Congrats. I told you I don't have enough parsley, so I'm just going to add some dried parsley. Hope for the best. I mean, it's meatloaf. It's not a rocket science here. Here's some onions. Blech. You know, it amazes me that, you know, Meatloaf is one of those things that, like, movies are like, Meatloaf, and things like that. But I've always thought Meatloaf has been pretty tasty. I mean, Mom made it growing up. Never complained on meatloaf night. Always had meatloaf, green beans, and mashed potatoes. But potatoes. That's not how it's going to be today. I got lima beans that I'm going to butter and cook that way. And then rice. I'm making rice with it. Wow. How long did it take me to figure out that I needed to say the word rice? I'll add the rest of that ketchup when I plan to get my hands dirty. Okay, like I said, 4 to 5 splashes of Worcestershire. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 for good luck, 2 for good luck. Okay, I put in 7. Whatever. I mean, who doesn't like Worcestershire sauce? Okay, get some salt into that mix. I season with my heart. I actually don't like a lot of salt when I cook. It's a product of me growing up. My mom didn't use a lot of salt, and now if I have a normal amount of salt in my food, I'm like, ugh, I'm gonna die. So, again, I just season with my heart. Some paprika. I like putting in Cajun. I go a little bit light on the Cajun. If I was cooking for just myself, I would add a lot. I love it. But I got other people eating this mess, so I mean this delicious and wonderful meatloaf. Got my onion powder. I think onion powder brings some more fun to the party, even if you already have onion. So I like it. Same with garlic powder. It's just something a little bit different. We had a lot of garlic growing up. My mom loved garlic. As you can see, I'm just going to talk about my mom a lot because that's where I started cooking, with my mom. We're good. Now is when you get your hands dirty. So my hands are nice and clean. They're washed. But I mean, if you mix your meatloaf with a spoon, I mean, are you actually doing it right? So just get on in there and mix that mess up. Oh, I really hope it's getting all this sound. The rain died down. So, oh, great, thunder. Oh no. Lots of people make their meatloaf very differently. I mean, I feel like I'm the only person I know that uses a mixed meat in their meatloaf, but I mean, you know, there's something like almost, I don't want to say cheap, but every time I use mixed meat, I always feel like it's just like, kind of like when you have a mixed meat hot dog, you know, it feels a little bit like cheaper and weird in a way. I don't know what I'm saying, but whatever. Also, just, I mean, like, look at that mess. That's delicious. All that onion, garlic, and everything being baked into a tasty, tasty heckin' loaf. And then you can make meatloaf sandwiches the next day and have meatloaf leftovers, and meatloaf reheats super well, and I'm just a real big meatloaf guy, you know? And it's weird, I only have it like once a year when I make it for the internet. Don't really make it twice a year. If I make a meatloaf, I always make something fun out of it. But, ooh, look at that. Look at that. That's some meatloaf right there. And just think about how long this would have taken if I used a spoon. Using the stir and smoosh technique. I invented the stir and smoosh. It's never ever been done before. I'm the absolute first person. So if you ever stir and then smoosh, you can thank the Meatloaf guy for that. Is that what I named my channel? Pretty sure. Whatever. Okay. I think that is adequately mixed. It's like same with meatballs, right? You gotta get in there and do that by hand. Ugh. Wonderful. Okay. Okay. I got my meatloaf nice and prepped over here. Now I gotta move on to the sauce. Most people like to put their sauce on halfway through the cooking process. I think that is lame. So I put mine on at the beginning of the process, and I don't think it actually changes that much. The sauce gets a little bit brown and crispy and whatever, but you know, whatever. It all goes in the same place, which I don't know, I guess if you burned something, it's still going in the same place. Okay, but you get my drift. You get the point. Just let your life ride, you know? What does that mean? I don't know. I'm rambling because I don't know how to talk in front of a camera. That was my 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. What else do I put in this? I put in a splash of white vinegar. Just a little sploosh, if you will. That's all you need. Just a little splash. I just like it a little bit more tangy than the ketchup is. Okay, I said that I put in some garlic powder. Just a little bit of that. Look at that magic, garlic powder. Okay, can you actually use some more? There you go, garlic powder. And I put in that onion powder. Is that backwards in the camera? Huh. I'll fix it in post, or not. Probably not, actually. Put in that onion powder. Now it looks powdery. You gotta have some salt, you know. So I take a little bit of salt. Did I put in the MSG into the meatloaf? Do y'all see that? Huh. Whatever. It's a science. It's not a science. It's meatloaf. Okay, and then a little bit of my blackened seasoning, just to give it that fun. There you go. That's all you need, right there, right? And then you take your tiny whisk, and you tiny whisk that up, and you got something delicious. It's like barbecue sauce, but just way more ketchup-y, you know? Yeah. See, growing up, we always just used ketchup. Just plain old ketchup on top. And that was either my job or my sister's job, putting that mess on. I say my sister. I had other sisters, you know, but there's one that was a fellow ketchup putter-oner. Just me and her coating that meatloaf in ketchup. Okay, so basically everything's prepped, and now the magic begins. Okay, so I'll be back. Okay, now comes the moment you have all been waiting for. I have all my tools I need for the project, for my beautiful creation. And much like any artist, I have to have all of my tools with me. So I have my meatloaf, obviously. I have my powdered Cheeto dust that I showed you how to make. onions and blueberries and peppercorns. I have my sauce, delicious sauce that I'll add on to it. And then over here, let me adjust. There you go. I have my bacon. Now, all of these will be used in the creation of what I am calling my Loafnan beefrin. Yeah, there we go. Loafnan beefrin. Yeah, that's what we're calling it this year. Okay, so what I always do to get started, explaining my process here, is I take my meatloaf, my tasty meatloaf, and I dump it onto my workspace, okay? Now, this is the heart of the project, obviously. You have to take this and turn it into that, okay? And the important thing is you match up all of the most important features, okay? So I'm going to turn this and try to get it back into the center of the frame. And I got to look at my nice, beautiful model right there. My Mr. Conan. I guess Mr. O'Brien. I assume he's Irish, right? I mean, look at him. But all of my special ingredients, I feel like, match his vibe, you know? He's got like the ginger thing going on, or kind of gingery thing, so I wanted to make sure I got like that best feature covered. So I originally zested my Cheeto dust, like just to have like the outside Cheeto dust, but I realized that, you know, his hair actually had some like golden qualities, so I just started like zesting my entire Cheeto to like try to get the color a little bit closer to Mr. O'Brien, Mr. O'Brien O'Beefrin's hair. But other than that, I mean, like, what are his other qualities? You got the half tooth smile, right? That was my father's signature as well. So, and I kind of do the same thing in pictures. So, you got to get those beautiful little chiclet teeth exactly correct. And then he's got like his little like laugh lines, you know, because he's been laughing all those years, being a funny guy. There's also that other guy in the show that I can never remember the name of. So I'm not gonna try, I guess. And then he's got like his little like his ears. I don't know. He's got some like elfish qualities to him, so you got to make sure all of that happens. And then, you know, his nose is a tiny bit bulbous on the front end, and you got to get that feature as well. He's got these stunning blue eyes. That's why we have the blueberries this year, because I gotta make sure I get those blue eyes correct, you know. So I think we can jump right into this, okay? I guess I'll make a cut here just to make sure that I have everything. Okay, I think I've got everything I need. So we're just gonna get started. Okay, the first thing I like to do is I make sure I have enough of my meatloaf separated to make additional things. Like this cut of meatloaf, right, is gonna be for his nose. And there's also that ear on the other side. So I'm gonna take off some of the meatloaf for that ear as well, you know. And I don't like to have a lot of onions in those sections because, I mean, you don't want onions sticking up out of their ears. That would be ridiculous. I mean, look at his ears. Do you see any onions? So I'm gonna take a lot of these onions out just to make sure I don't have onion protrusions coming from those ears. Okay, so I'll just put those in the corner. Oh, there's another onion. Okay, see, that's why you gotta check. The nose I'm not so much worried about. As you can see, he does have onions sticking up from his nose, so if that does happen, I don't feel too bad about it. Maybe he should have gotten rid of those nose onions if he didn't want me to have onions in his nose. Okay, and now that I have all those onions on the surface, I'm just gonna poke those in just to make sure you don't see a lot of onion right up top when we got this going. Okay, so first things first, you gotta take a look at their face. Okay, so we got a side profile situation going here, so I like to make sure when we have this like side of their face showing, you know, you got to make sure that your meatloaf kind of has the same 3D characteristics. So I'm gonna flatten this side a little bit back towards the ear, and especially right where the ear is, I'm gonna push that meatloaf down a little bit. That way when you stick the ear on, it's not like sticking out into the oblivion. I mean, like, look, his ears are pretty close to his head. You don't want to give him Dumbo ears, you know? And where the mouth is, I like to create a little bit of a divot right there just to make sure that I can actually make those lips pretty easy later. Now, make sure that you have all of those features areas kind of good. So, I mean, if you've ever drawn a person, you realize that there is a lot of head, you know, where the hair sits on, and I mean, he's got a lot of forehead showing as well. So you want to make sure that you got enough in the top so the face doesn't seem lopsided by the end. And then you start just shaping in some of those features, right? So if you look at the curve of the face here, I'm going to push that in slightly because his skull comes in right there. And then that cheek protrudes a little bit because he's got those happy little elfy cheeks. Conan, did you ever think someone was going to describe your face as having happy little elfy cheeks? Now, he's got a pretty square jaw. Pretty chiseled. He's a handsome guy. But his chin comes into a point, you know? It's a nice round chin, but it is pretty pointy. That's one of the reasons I think he looks pretty elfish, is because of that chin. So I'm going to make sure that that chin does point, because I think that's one of his signature qualities, is that pointier chin, the elfy chin. I'm going to push that in there. Just give his little chin a little bit of a squeeze to shape it in, you know? And maybe I should do a top down, you know? Just to give you an added view of how I'm shaping this. So let me get this where I want it. And I'm going to show y'all my top down kind of vibe. And then we're going to get some of those facial contours into the mix. Yeah, there you go. I think that's looking a little bit better. Let me push the bottom of that chin. And gotta put a lot of work into this chin. Oh, I just screwed everything up. How much more can I push this chin in? Nice pointy chin. He goes, "Hi, I'm Conan. Welcome to the..." Alexa, what's Conan's TV show called?
Conan's late night talk show was simply called Conan and aired on TBS from 2010 to 2021.
I'm so sorry, Conan. I didn't realize that your show ended, and I didn't realize it was just your name. I guess that's why I just think of your entire being as Conan, you know? Does that look right? I think that looks right. Oh, I think his forehead comes out a little bit more in that direction. Okay, I'm gonna wash these hands. I'm gonna give you that top-down view so you can see my vision starting to form yourself. Okay, here's more of like a top-down view. You see, like, I wanted to get that chin a little bit like rounded, and then push all of that to the side to kind of like match his forehead, you know, and I got room for the ear. I think that's where the mouth is gonna go. So now I just like kind of like need to add a nose in. Orientate my camera here. Okay, we're back to like a side view. Yes, my Loafnan. My Loafnan of beefrin. Okay. Oh, my screen. Oh, I'm a professional, y'all. Oh, why is my screen upside down? That's awkward. Okay, that works. Hey, kitty. Okay, so, like I said, now we're gonna add the like other facial features into the mix. There we go. Keep them centered. I think I'll do the nose first because the nose it's kind of hard to get right. Okay, trust me, I've been doing this for it's my 3rd year running, so I know what I'm talking about when it comes to meatloaf people. So I'm gonna add some little dips in for the eyes, and you do that by just poking them in the eye. You know, that's all you gotta do. Like, see, like there's the mouth, there's the eye. You kind of get it. Okay, and now you see the bridge of that nose already starting to form, but then you gotta push in that other eye. Okay, pretty easy. So now I got some eye holes. And the beautiful thing about Conan, and his eyes are a little bit on the smaller side, a little bit squintier, so you don't have to do too much work in there. And they kind of have like, he's got like more like youthful cheeks, you know, going on. So if his cheeks kind of puff up a little bit, you know, that's all right. That's fine. That's what you kind of want. Oh, but now his forehead's too small. So I'll fix it with the bacon. Okay. Now, like I said, the nose is a hard part. Okay. So I like to take it little bit by little bit and just kind of add it in as I go. Now the bridge of his nose is pretty thin. Okay, it's pretty thin, goes up pretty far, and his nose is honestly kind of like a straight line. Conan, thank you for having like a nose that's pretty easy to shape. Yeah, look at that. Okay, like I said though, his nose is kind of bulbous towards the end. So I'm going to make that into a ball and kind of, okay, my bad. Don't get offended. I'll make that a little bit smaller. I got silly with his nose. Okay, that was my bad. So now we kind of just smush that together with the rest of the nose. And look at that. You know, the ball of the nose is now there. Then I feel kind of good leaving that pretty round. But then his nostrils are being backed pretty close to his face and thin, you know, so I don't need much meat to do that. See, like that's all I needed. Okay? Is that right? Does that look right, everybody? And then take about the same. You really can't see it in the picture, but you know it's there in a 3D environment, so I'm just gonna kind of add that in and shape it just to give it that good, you know. Conan, you are going to be one tasty meatloaf. Yeah, look at that. Now his nose kind of comes forward. I gotta angle that down a little bit. Add a little bit more to the bridge to keep the bulby nature. Oh, onion. Keep like the slightly bulbous nature, you know, but his nose has to come down a little bit from the nostrils. Ah, dang it. I lost the bulby nature. Oh no, everything's going to crap. So, you push that in, and now his nose is too wide. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's the beautiful thing. I mean, if I need to completely restart over, I can just rip off the nose. You know? It's kind of like plastic surgery, you know? Just, it's not an exact science, so you just kind of get into it and you shape that nose and everything's fine. Beautiful. Looks just like him. Round that nose out. Just like that. Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like. I think that's some pretty dang solid work. You want that top-down view? Let me get a towel in here so I can de-meatloaf my hands. And now you can see with your own dang eyes how beautiful that nose is. Look at that. Doesn't it look just like Conan? See? And once you get the sauce on, it's going to be absolutely delicious. Okay, so now what do you do with the rest of this, right? Oh, I need my screen so I can tell them to start recording. What do you do with the remainder of this chunk of meat, you know? Because I mean that's for the ear. Well, as you can see, he's got like those youthful kind of happy cheeks. So I'm gonna add some of that youthful happiness back in by bringing this up and then forming those laugh lines down to his lips. You know, look at that. You bring those cheeks back up. Now you gotta smooth them into the face a little bit so it doesn't look like you just slapped a meatball on his face. No offense. That sounded better in my head. But then you put that on the other side as well. And look at that. He's got those happy little elf cheeks again. That's what you want. Happy little elf cheeks. So there's a little Irish elf. Is he Irish? Alexa, is Conan Irish?
Conan O'Brien is from the United States.
Well,
however, he has strong Irish roots. Both sides of his family trace back to Ireland, and he's proud of his Irish Catholic heritage.
Catholic? Whoa, nice. Oh, cool. Conan, no, that's not what Alexa responds to. Alexa, what was Conan's friend on his show? Who?
Conan O'Brien's longtime friend and sidekick on his shows was Andy Richter. Richter appeared with Conan on Late Night, The Tonight Show, and Conan's TBS show.
Yeah, that was his name. Couldn't think of it. No offense, Andy. Me and Andy go way back too, which is really unfortunate that I didn't remember his name. Okay, is that about his ear? Look at that. I think that's pretty similar, you know? It's about the right size. I mean, if you slap that down, like, that's too big. It's got an onion in it. Okay, so I'll put the onion back over there, okay? And then let me shape that into an ear-like shape. You know, he's got pretty tall ears. They don't stick out a lot, but I mean, the innards kind of stick out. Have you ever seen 30 Rock? Anytime he ever appeared on 30 Rock, it was the absolute funniest parts of the show. Like, they were hilarious. I really like that episode where, like, the kind of offensive old guy is, like, walking around with Kenneth, and eventually he's like, I stayed here all evening. He's like, I met that tall lesbian woman. Why is Conan so sad? And I thought that was kind of a funny line, you know. That's a Conan ear. Yeah. I'll put a little hole in there so he can hear. But that's a Conan ear. Like, look at that. Oh, it's kind of bulby on the bottom. I'll take that away. There we go. Oh yeah, that is exactly what Conan's ear looks like. I mean, that is pretty ding-dang perfect. I mean, when the bacon goes under there and everything lines up, it'll look real nice. Now I'm gonna take all this extra meat, I'm gonna add it back into that pointy chin, you know? That pointy Conan signature pointy chin. This little elf chin. How many times can I call his chin a little elf chin? Okay, got that square jaw, got those happy little cheeks. Honestly, he doesn't have like a super furrowed brow, so it's nice not having to deal with that this time. You know, that the ear the ear's high. You know, that's not how an ear actually works. The ear is more like down here. Because the top of the ear, like where it connects to the face, is actually even with the eyes. So I'll push that back down, and that kind of makes this seem a little bit less open. Yeah. There we go. Okay. Easy fix. That's a Conan ear. Okay, yeah. Yeah, look at that. Okay. Let me wipe off my hands again. I'll give you that top-down view. As promised, here's that top-down view. I mean, you can see that nose and the ear and the mouth and that happy little pointy chin, and you can see this dog, and look at him. What a good little guy. Yeah, that's a happy face. It's not actually a happy face. He really doesn't like the rain and storms. And that's what the weather is today. So I'll put this back over here. Point it back at my Loafnan beef friend. Okay, and now we get into what's a little bit harder, and that is the exact facial features. Okay, I mean, if you look at his face in the picture, there we go. You can see that, like, he's got like these laugh lines and stuff, and you gotta give him credit. I mean, the man has been making laughs his whole life, so I mean, you gotta include that when you make his loaf. Okay, so I'm gonna take a chopstick, and that's how I add in my my laugh lines. So I start over by the eyes, and I usually do this last, just to add the really minute details like that last. But I kind of just like create some lines and push it back in, and maybe go in just like that. And yeah, that looks about right. And then I go into the other side, and I add those little laugh lines in. I mean, look at that. Look at his forehead, though. I mean, that's pristine. There ain't no creases there, but he's got some creases right here on the chin to accentuate the pointiness, you know, that I've been harking on. And then he's got some pretty deep lines right under his cheeks, just like that. So when something is that pronounced, you gotta make sure people notice it. Okay, you gotta be a little bit obvious with the details right there. And that one kind of goes down into his chin. And I mean, when you do that, like it brings the little youthful smile out. Okay, and then I come in right here, add the other line going down. He has a couple more lines like that. Same over here on this side. Yeah. Okay. Now he's a pretty wide open smile. So, because we gotta get those teeth in, I'm gonna widen that mouth out a little bit, just like that. When we come in with the teeth, I can just shove them in right there. And I'm kind of thinking that it might be a good idea to put a little bit of black pepper in there, just to mind my arm and my reach, just to darken that area up a little bit, to add some shadows in, you know. So while it might make that area of the meatloaf a little bit spicier, I mean, we gotta have some accurate details here, right, folks? I mean, that's what this is all about. It's about the meatloaf looking good, tasting good, and it can look good and taste good at the same time. You know, I alluded to the fact that some people ask me why I do this, and you know, there's a lot of people out there that think that food, as long as it tastes good, like that's all you need, right? You just need a good taste in food, but I don't think that's it. You know, if you take a hamburger, right, and you blend it into a nice paste, it kind of still tastes like a hamburger, you know, but that presentation is not what you want, and the way those flavors mix, there's nothing artistic about it, you know. So I think presentation in food is pretty important, and that's what we're doing here. See, like, look, now that area, it has some shadow to it, you know, and that'll be an interesting part of the meatloaf to eat, you know, because that portion is just gonna be a little bit spicier, you know, the black pepper spice, you know, kind of spicy, but makes it a little bit more interesting. Okay, what's next? I think the bacon should come next. Here's a pretty important part, and I got 2 parts to the hair this time, right? When I made my Justin Meatloaf, I just used straight bacon for the hair, and I actually used some pretty high quality bacon on that one, but we're going a little bit cheaper here because I got to add some extra je ne sais quoi. That's French. I don't know for what. I don't know if I even used that correctly. So over here, I got my bacon, and I'm going to work this into a little bit more manageable one-man show here. Don't mind me, folks. I'm going to put this into slightly more manageable strips. So I'm going to leave a longer section and a shorter section because I need a longer section for his hair, right? Because, I mean, he's got, like, that signature swoop. So I need some long stuff. You know what? I'll actually take off a couple of pieces of bacon just in case I need to keep some long stuff, okay? But the rest, with the shorter parts of his hair, I want something a little bit easier to work with. So I'm going to make some cuts just like this, and that'll be like the underside of my layers, okay? I also think I'm going to use some of that bacon for the lips this time. I think that'll be a pretty fun little way to use a little bit more bacon, which, I mean, you know, people go absolutely freaking sane for bacon. It's actually not really my jam. Like, not like a super bacon kind of guy. I think it's really salty. I'm not all about that salt life, okay? Now, I'm going to take some of this bacon. I'm going to use the probably some fatty parts mixed in with some like more lean parts, just so I have a pretty good mix. But, you know, Mr. O'Brien here, he's got that signature red hair, you know? And like I said, we're going to use some of that signature Cheeto dust to get that red hair into the mix. So all I'm going to do, take a piece of bacon, I'm going to just tap it into that Cheeto dust. You know? Hey, look at that. If that does not look like Conan's hair, I don't know what does. You know, I've been thinking of names to also include and eventually make into meatloafs, you know? His hair kind of stays up like that. Oh, look at that. Look at it's Conan, right? Like, that's exactly what the dude looks like, you know? Oh, so that Cheeto dust is getting away from his hair. That's kind of awkward, but like that looks pretty dang good. Okay. I've been thinking of other people to make into meatloafs, and you know, when I was getting these Cheetos, you know, everyone's like, jumping in the Cheeto dust. So I was thinking, you know, like maybe I could make a political meatloaf or whatever, but I don't want to do anything political on the channel. I don't want to rile anyone's goats. I just want to make meatloaf. No arguments, you know. So I think I'm going to stay away from that. But I don't think he has a meatloaf quality to him, you know. You know, some people have loaf energy, loafiness, if you will, and Conan, I think he had some like loaf energy. So I wanted to include him in this fun little adventure of making people into meatloafs. Okay, does that stick? Sure, it sticks. That's the way. That's perfect. Like, because he has that swoop in the top, you know, like some of his hair goes to the side, and then he has a little bit of a swoop at that part. So, like, look, you gotta include a little bit of that swoop going down, just like that, you know. You gotta give his qualities to him. Okay, now I'm going to put an under layer of hair and then work on the swoop just in case I don't see all the layers. So I'm going to use some of the shorter bacon to do the under layers of the hair. But, you know, I don't know. So going back to people with like loaf qualities, I think Steve Harvey would make a pretty good meatloaf. Hulk Hogan, dude, like talk about making a good meatloaf right there. Hulk Hogan. Make a fantastic. Macho Man Randy Savage, if we're going to go in the same vein. I have like some personal favorites. I think SpongeBob would be pretty fun to make into a meatloaf, but you know what? I wanted to stick to someone a little bit more realistic. I think the realistic is really fun for me. So I didn't want to do like a cartoon character quite yet. Wow, I really sanded a lot of Cheetos. I don't think I needed all this Cheeto dust. Oh well. His hair kind of makes it all the way back down to his eyes. So I'll put another piece of hair right there. Yeah, that looks great. Okay. And now I'll make a little bit of an under area. Keep bringing it up a little bit. So grab a piece of that. And then you Cheeto it up. I mean, folks at home, I mean, this is not a hard recipe, you know? I'm giving it all to you. And if you want to alter it slightly to make it a little bit more of your own, or if you think I missed some Conan qualities, you can at me, okay? I'm not hiding. You can put it in the comments. You can make your own video and up meatloaf culture in America. I think that's always a good thing. You know, I think meatloaf awareness is a pretty good thing. Oh my gosh, look at that. You know, it's coming out pretty good. Okay, but now we gotta get into the tall stuff. So I don't think I need the full size pieces of bacon at this point. I just need to get into the swoopies. So how am I gonna do this? Guess I'll put it up and around just like that. Yeah, just like that, Conan. Ooh. Once I have all the layers in, this will look great. The house is awakening. They know dinner is almost upon us. They're getting active. Ooh. Put another piece of hair just like that. Looking great. Okay. Take that to the side. And the hair comes down a little bit. And we've almost got him. Ooh. Just like that. Yeah, that looks great. Wonderful. Look at that hair. That's some pretty signature Conan updo right there. Oh, that looks great. Oh, you want to see it from the other angle? You know what? There's something. Actually, I don't think it's tall enough. I think I gotta like really get it as tall as I can get it. You know, bring it up like that. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Now that's the stuff right there. We got the part in the hair. The hair goes up and over. Oh, it flopped down. Oh, crap. Get it. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to curse there. There's a children's channel. You know what? I think it's time for a big piece of bacon. You know, I think it's actually time to Cheeto that piece of bacon up. And use a long piece to get that signature, like that one like long swoop, just like that. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Look how tall I can get that. Oh yeah, that looks great. And then you can like swoop it down. You guys, I think I'm a genius here. Yeah, look at that. Oh, that's magical. Yeah. You got the signature swoop up. You got the little extra colors. Okay, let me wash these hands off, and I can give you that top down view. Then you're gonna be freaking impressed. You're gonna say, "Oh my gosh, sign me up! I want a slice of that. That looks delicious." And you know what? You'd be right. You'd be right to say that. Like look at that. Is it zooming in? I can't tell. There we go. Look at that. Look at that. From the top down. There he is. He's forming up pretty dang nicely, if I do say so myself. You know, he might be a little bit chubbier in meatloaf form than in real life, but you know, if I was made of meatloaf, I think I'd be pretty chubby too. Well,
I already am, but that's besides the point. Okay. You know what? Okay, my battery died, but now we're good. We're back. We're back in business. Okay, I have the hair done. Okay, now I gotta move on to teeth and eyes. Okay, now for teeth, I think the best thing to use is just getting a nice quality piece of onion on my screen. Getting a nice quality piece of onion and just cutting it into teeth shapes, you know? And I mean, I understand that over here I got my bacon on this workstation, but I mean, I'm about to put these teeth directly into the meatloaf, so I mean, it's not too bad of food malpractice, I guess. But no, you cut something into a general teeth form, and then you stick it on in. Okay, that tooth might be a little bit too big, so I'll trim it down a little bit. Now look at that. Now, you just go into the mouth, you shove it up there, and guess what? Conan O'Brien now has a tooth. Okay, it's really just that easy, folks. Okay, I'm going to do the same exact thing over here with these. Is it about the same size? Sure, good enough. Now I'm just going to go through. I'm just going to line up these teeth, just like that. Oh, man. That is like Conan right there. Like, man. If you get Conan's best friends into a room, and Conan was also in the room, they'd have to do it like a double take when they saw this. They'd be like, "Oh my gosh, I thought you were about to be baked into a meatloaf." Well, I guess it's already a meatloaf. You get the point. I mean, that's you understand the sentiment of what I was saying. That's also not the right word, but you know, whatever. I'm a cook. I'm not a wordist. Y'all, I'm going crazy. When I make dinner, I always watch like Game Grumps or Slosh or something on YouTube, or I listen to music, and boy oh boy, just talking to myself makes me feel like an actual insane person. Man, when you get these teeth in, you know, it really starts looking like a person, you know? There's, you know what, they said that he was Irish Catholic, and I mean, wasn't Kennedy also Irish Catholic? Because I mean, I can kind of see in some similarity in features, you know. I feel like this smile that I got going here actually is a little bit more reminiscent of good old John F. Kennedy. Yeah. There's a happy guy. Oh, I'm sorry that your teeth are overlapping. You might need to go to the orthodontist. But nah, look at that. Look at that. That's great. You gotta see it from my perspective. Like look at that happy face. He's got the teeth in there. Those teeth are eventually gonna be lined with a little bit of bacon. And everything's gonna be heckin' fine and dandy. Oh, wrong way. Fine and heckin' dandy, you know? Okay, so I got those in. Now, with the eyes, it's the same exact thing, you know? A lot of people say that teeth and eyes look exactly the same, and I mean, they're not wrong. They're basically the same thing. Same color, same materials. Well, in meatloaf, not like in people form, you know? Then things get a little bit different, but, you know, when it comes to meatloaf, I like to keep some similar ingredients, because I mean, if I used a million different kind of things, it might end up badly. That's why when I used Mr. Beanfloaf, I used a lot of beans, which, one, it matches, like, thematically it made sense to use a lot of beans in Mr. Beanfloaf, but, you know, when I used a bunch of beans to make the flavor, like, to make the things, and, you know, all those beans ended up tasting pretty good together, you know? So I kind of want to do the same thing here, but I just got to use onion just to keep a little bit of similar flavor profiles. And, you know, I don't have a big enough onion to really, because I forgot to, like, actually save an outer layer, so I just had to, like, use some of the larger pieces of when I was dicing up the onion to make these eyes. But, you know, but that's fine. There's a bunch of little happy mistakes in this, and I'm going to taste every single one of them. You know what? People always like, that can't taste great. I do it every year, you know? And by every year, I mean the past 2 years. But I'm doing it the 3rd year, so, you know, it's got to be good. You know what? I wanted to let y'all in on the little tradition here, so I'm videotaping it this time, and who knows, maybe I'll videotape another, okay? But that's not what this is about. I just wanted to share my recipe with y'all, and that's what this is, you know? Presentation is definitely part of a recipe, you know? No matter what they tell you. Who are they? I don't know, but if they tell you otherwise, they're wrong. Okay, you just gotta dig those eyes in a little bit. Yeah, look at that. That's Conan. That's Conan right there. Okay, now I also said that I wanted to put a little bacon around the lips, but you gotta use an actual meaty part because the white of the bacon doesn't really give me lip vibes, you know? He's got some pink lips. When you're famous and like you have to sit, do they, you go into makeup, right? Like, do you think he's wearing lipstick in this? I don't know, but yeah, see? Look, that looks more like lips. I'm gonna do that. Yeah, it's fun. You know, I'm gonna do that with the rest of them. I'm gonna add these little bacon lips in, and maybe Mr. Conan, Mr. O'Brien likes bacon himself, so maybe he can appreciate getting some of this bacon around his lips. You know? Who should I do next, you know? I mentioned a couple. I have an entire, like, list of people I'm thinking about. Maybe... I know I really, really want to make into a meatloaf. Tom Selleck, you know? Tom Selleck. Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey's another one. But, like, I wanna save Steve Harvey, you know? I think that man deserves, like, a true, like, really, really heckin' good meatloaf. And I want to get better at this craft before I move on to what I consider, like, pretty big, you know, in terms of meatloaf art culture, you know? And I have seen more meatloaf art culture popping up. Did anyone else see that video of the person who made the Shrek meatloaf? Yeah, like, I mean, come on, like, heck, even this idea of mine's not entirely original. I mean, I started with a Justin Bieber loaf, like, that's a famous internet meme right there, but I wanted to do it. I wanted to give him the spotlight again, you know? I miss my youth. I miss the Biebs being on top. That's not actually why I made a Bieb loaf, but, you know, whatever. Look at that. Look at those lips. Look at those tiny little pink little lips. That's great. He got his teeth inside. Yeah. Yeah, I should have made like his little profile and gotten the suit in there. Okay, whatever. Next time, Mr. O'Brien. Now, you know what? I think I'm just gonna put them on. Should I cut those in half? I feel like I should cut those in half, right? I think... let me lift y'all up so you can see it. I mean, I'm asking y'all if I should get this. I gotta cut this in half. Well, that's funny. No, you gotta have fun with your craft, you know. I mean, otherwise, what's the point? Okay, I'm gonna cut these blueberries in half. I don't know. It's a fun little tradition, everybody. Makes me laugh. I love cooking. Like, I genuinely really do. And oh, gosh, that didn't help. Oh, let me shape that down a little more. Oh, my wife's going to be so mad when she realized I bought an entire thing of blueberries. Just to use 2 of them. I mean, we'll eat the blue. I'll make a cobbler. A tiny little cobbler or something. I don't know. Okay, there we go. That's better. You know, there's not a lot of blue foods out there. I mean, I was like, what am I going to use to make his irises? I was like, I got to get something blue. I mean, he's got blue eyes. He's got beautiful blue eyes. So blueberries made the most sense. But I mean, when you think about it, blueberries are almost like a really, really dark purple or navy or black almost. So, okay, that's better. And then I'm going to take my peppercorns. And I'm going to put the little pupils in. Oh, his pupil fell out. Ah! Okay, that pupil's good. Yeah, that's what the peppercorns are for, everybody. In case you didn't know what the peppercorns are for. There we go! That looks pretty dang good. Maybe I'll add these lines back in just to make them a little bit more defined. They kind of stretched out. But I think that looks just like Conan O'Brien. A little bit like Ellen DeGeneres, but I mean, like, I feel like I say that about the regular Conan as well. And you know what? I think I did a pretty dang good job with this with this one. Yeah. Loafnan O'Brien, everybody. Woohoo! Oh, no, I gotta get them sauced up. Ah, crap, I didn't start the oven. You bake this at 375 for like 40 minutes or so. I don't know. I just keep checking and I poke him in the face with the meat thermometer. But like, look at this guy. Look at him. There he is up there. There he is. Look at the little guy. And look at him down here. That's the same dude. Yeah. That's some Loafnan O'Brien right there. Ooh. Got a lot of Cheeto dust left over. Okay, so I gotta take photos. I should probably use my camera for the photos, which means I'm gonna have to stop recording. You know what? I'll use my phone. I'll take some pictures with my phone. Then I'll take some pictures with the actual camera. And oh, I should probably clean off the Cheeto dust. Okay, we're gonna take a pause here for a little bit, everybody, while I take some dingity-dang photos. Okay. Okay, I've taken some photos. So here is some close-up action video. Just so y'all get the picture, you know? You go, oh my gosh, that is delicious. That is Conan freaking O'Brien. That looks just like him. My guy, my dude, with the hair. Oh yeah, let's get like that, like panning shot. Ooh, if I had a gimbal, this would be so smooth and awesome, but oh well. That is Conan freaking O'Brien. Let's get this bad boy sauced up. Okay, so people in the past have asked me, why in the world do you put that sauce on them? It looks like an absolute nightmare. And they say other nice things about it, and blah, 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 blah. Well, the real reason I put the sauce on them is not because it looks exactly like them or anything like that. No, this one is purely for taste. This sauce is delicious. Like, let me, that right there, that's for me. Delicious sauce. Now, I'm going to put it on the meatloaf. The meatloaf's going to taste extra delicious. And then I take some other photos so people know what they look like after they've been sauced up, you know? Because you got to have both, you know? Because, I mean, I feel like if I just posted the photos of the meatloaf without the sauce, and then, like, he comes out of the oven, I take the other photos, and he's sauced. People are like, well, what the heck is that sauce all about? And I'll be like, oh, sorry, you know. But this just I feel like I include people in the process a little bit more if I show them the sauced photos and the unsauced photos. And you see, I got a little sauce in the eye, and no one likes that. It makes it look like he's bleeding from the eyes, and we don't like that, okay? So, I always use an onion to get the sauce out of places that I don't want it. I've tried to use like paper towels and spoons and knives in the past, and it just doesn't work, you know? But an onion, it has like a squeegee-like quality, you know? Beautiful squeegee-like quality. So, I go on with a pretty even layer, and I do a double layer, you know, just to make sure. Like right now, he looks pretty like glistening, but you know, you gotta get that sauce on there, bro. Like, the sauce is delicious. That's why I make a full cup of that mess, like a cup and more, honestly, because I had that splash of vinegar. So it's like a cup and a splash, plus some tablespoons of brown sugar. Okay, so I mean, look at that guy. He still looks like Conan, just if you removed his skin or something. I guess that does sound creepy. Oh well, he tastes good. That also sounds creepy. Okay, maybe internet Reddit commenters, you have a point. But once you get a taste of this delicious heckin' meatloaf, you don't care anymore, you know? It tastes too freaking good. So you just gotta get Conan sauced up and ready to go. Could you imagine if Conan like walked out onto set sauced up like this, you know? People would be like, what the heck? And they'd be like, it's meatloaf sauce. And they'd be like, what the heck? I don't know where I was going with this. But just imagine it. Because I told you to. Look at that. Look at that tasty guy. You know, I actually always wonder if, like, the people I make the meatloaf of ever see the meatloaf. Like, do you think Justin Bieber ever saw the Beebloaf? I don't think he would appreciate it, you know? I feel like Rowan Atkinson actually would have appreciated the Beefloaf if he saw it, you know? Who knows? Maybe, you know, Conan likes to laugh. He's got them laugh lines that I was talking about. Maybe he would enjoy some of this as well. He's a funny guy. Whew. Or maybe they're all just creeped out, you know? That's also a possibility. I mean, if someone made a meatloaf creation of me, I'd have questions. Well, I'm also not famous. And I guess if my best friend did it or something like that, I wouldn't question it then. But I mean, I'm not friends with Conan. I'm just friends with Andy. So, I guess it kind of would be a little bit weird. But you know, look at him. He's glistening. Look at him. He's still smiling. He's still happy. He's ready to be baked. And that looks heckin' delicious. Kitty, stop eating tape. Kitty, stop eating tape. That's some behind the scenes action of my cat eating tape. He stopped.
This is a reminder. Take out the trash.
Should I edit that out? Do I know how to edit that out?
This is a reminder. Take out the trash.
Thank you, Alexa. Okay. You know what? I think I can just get a little bit more sauce on. Just to make sure it's a nice, good saucy experience. I'm going to stick this bad boy in the oven. Did I tell you what temperature I do this at? I'll tell you again. I preheated the oven to 375. And, you know, last year, some people called me out on the fact that the meatloaf did not cook evenly, you know? But I care about food safety, you know? And I like to see the way the heat brings out their features, you know? I feel like it would be dishonest if I tried to rearrange the heat, you know? I want to see what the heat has to say about Conan, you know? I feel like it's a little bit more honest to the oven. Me and the oven are partners in this experience, so I want to see what the oven has to say. I want to see what the oven has to do with my good old Loafnan OB friend. Yeah, look at that guy. He's nice and sauced up. He's got that less pointy looking chin because the meat's been heating up and slowly pulling apart as I do this, but you know, he's gorgeous. I love him. I'm happy. He's a pretty even thickness all the way throughout. So I think he'll cook pretty good. So I think I'm gonna leave him there, you know? And maybe a little bit more sauce on the cheek. Just a little bit more sauce. You know, there you go. That right there is basically how you make a Loafnan O'Beefrin. So, yeah. If you want to make a Loafnan O'Beefrin yourself, that is the recipe for it. Okay? Maybe I'll make recipes for Justin Meatloaf or Mr. Beefloaf in the future, just so you know how I made those creations as well. But you know what? That right there, that looks pretty dang tasty. You know, I might eat it without putting it in the oven. If that didn't cause damage, I might do that. But I guess I'll put him in the oven, and then you'll see what it's like when he comes back out. How about that? See you then, folks. Okay, here we go. 375, and when he comes back out, look at him. There he goes. Goodbye, Loafnan O'Beefrin. See you after your nap. Woo! Here's a kitty in the meantime. Look at that little guy. Look at that kitty. Yeah. Kitty, do you want some meatloaf? No? Okay, I checked the temps. We're up to 145. He's ready. Yeah. Oh, there we go. That's the stuff. Right there. There you go. Okay, and there he is. All done. Beautifully charred. I guess for next time, I should probably use some toothpicks to keep the hair on. But, nah. Looks great. Looks just like Conan, right? Exactly like Conan. Here you go, get the close-up. Here we go. Ooh, flyover. Teeth came out wonderful. Nose looks beautiful. Beautiful blue eyes still. Orange hair. Pixie ear. Perfect. And that is how you make Loafnan O'Beefrin.